All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone's having an amazing morning, and I hope you had an amazing day yesterday. So happy Friday. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm great. How about yourself?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Seeing our gappers list looking very interesting here towards the downside. We got some good stuff happening over in our gapping up list. ACB leading the way today, up 33%. So we'll get into that. A little bit of some fun action yesterday as well, guys. Our list yesterday was very, very active. A lot of stuff had dropped down. We're not going to go through every single one of them, but a lot of red yesterday, if you guys remember. But look at the bounces on some of these stocks that we had. It's just some pretty big bounces yesterday. Although they gapped down pretty far down here. A lot of them recovering, so that was interesting to see as they're hitting some of these unique levels down here, as we saw from CCL. Delta also bouncing back, MGM bouncing back as well. Again, just a big, seemed like it was a big bounce back day yesterday. They're gapping down but kind of recover for the most part. So, guys, let's get into the SPY, see what the market pulses, what we have going on there right now, and then we'll look at this gappers list.
As you said, I mean, for a few days we've had this sell off, and then yesterday it reversed pretty substantially. If you look at Boeing, um, I took this trade in the room with Andrew Bryan's is going to be out for a few days. He was out yesterday, so I was trading with Andrew. I called out this Boeing short, and right at the beginning of the day, and it was beautiful. And then, but it seemed like it wanted to go back up, like it wanted to squeeze. I got out of it, came tested VWAP. I got out of it at break even. And it did exactly what I wanted to for like 4 points. Then at the end of the day, I think that's that buying pressure that was in that stock. You can see it, not even the end of the day. After that sell off, hit 114 or whatever, shot right back up, red to green, and then it sold off some after that. But nevertheless, I could feel that buying pressure in there. That's what got me out of it. Anyway, the whole market kind of had this resilience yesterday that made people think it was going up. When I got up this morning, futures were actually green, and then we're down about 1% now. That came out as news on Huawei, U.S. blocking shipments of semiconductors to China for Huawei. So that has put a little fear on the market of not a trade war, but just kind of um, escalating trade issues. That China's now come back and threatened U.S. companies. I believe Cisco, Apple were amongst them, a few of them. So kind of an interesting spot to be in. We're still in that range we speak about between
Mm-hmm.
280-ish plus or minus a few points up to 293. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens there. We just had retail sales come out. You and I came on the air a little bit early, so I haven't seen it. Um, so let me see here. Retail sales down 17 per core retail, 17% negative versus 8.6 expected. Retail sales 16.4 negative versus minus 12 expected. So, everybody expected this to April to be nasty for anything that wasn't essential, groceries, stuff like that. Malls weren't even open. So how do you predict a number on that really? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see what happens with it. This trade deal is kind of the more concerning of those issues developing, and we'll see what happens. I apologize that my phone isn't on mute. Then later today, we'll get industrial production, capacity utilization, job openings at 10, and consumer sentiment for May. So should be an interesting day.
Yeah, it sure seems like it's going to be. I mean, the SPY right now pretty active. Our gappers down list pretty active. Our gapping up list pretty active too. Although we have to go through it and see what's actually good in here. I know off the top there's some on here that don't trade very well, but for the most part, we got at least two ACB and JD that are pretty interesting gapping up this morning. So let's get into those. All right, guys, let's look what we have this morning. Let's make some room over here. Get rid of yesterday's watch list. Which again was very nice to watch, very active, a lot of stuff selling off and then coming back for a very nice reversal. So you had some good opportunities on the way down, like you mentioned on BA, which was an amazing trade. Came back right to the VWAP, sold off, and then A few minutes later, it's right back up towards that VWAP. So that was nice. All right, so guys, here we have ACB this morning. Now, I think there's some news on this. I overheard something yesterday. I didn't couldn't quite listen in to what was happening, but ACB up 31.9, 966,000, obviously in play today. Norm, there's some news behind this. Fill us in.
They had earnings last night. They had earnings last night. Their revenues. Who knew that when people were trapped at home, that pot sales were going to skyrocket? That having been said, I mean that their bottom line results weren't great, but they sold a lot of weed.
Yeah, yeah, it makes perfect sense. What else can you do, right? What else can you do when you're sitting at home, can't go out to eat and spend your money elsewhere? This could be
Yep.
entertaining. So ACB is definitely in play this morning, guys. Good pre-market activity, almost getting to that 1 million shares traded so far this morning. Up nicely. Had a decent day yesterday as well, and now you're kind of getting a little shock factor here. Pretty nice pop. AG this morning. This one is one that I knew from the top of the list here that doesn't trade very well. They're up 4.8, but look at the pre-market action right now. They're again only 124,000, and just look how this pre-market activity looks right now. So nothing clean about this one, unless there's any significant news. Normal, I'll skip to the next one, which will be CGC, which is another pot stock, but this one trades a little bit better than all of them. ACB is definitely in play today, but CGC out of the Tilray, what's the other one? Chronos. Chronos is also pretty clean. CGC is on that list at that place. Well, now obviously they didn't have earnings, right? Norm, this is a sympathy play at the moment.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Correct.
So we'll add them on here, guys, because they can tend to be a clean mover. Right now, not much going on, just barely cracking over 100,000. They're just slightly up 4.7. We'll take a look at it a little bit later and see if that's going to get any better here. Here's JD, guys. So JD is very active this morning. 2.1 million shares traded, up 4.2. So I like JD. Today's definitely played nice pre-market action. And just look at the daily, how strong this has been, right? So we had a nice little run up here, kind of came back, gave a lot of it back here. And the last couple of days, we've just been ripping higher, breaking over some recent highs. And today we're gapping up huge. Fill us in on latest and greatest on JD.
Yeah, they had earnings, beat top and bottom lines, gave an update on second quarter, looks strong. So, nice rebound from their lows since China's come back a little bit earlier, and showing some resilience and growth here.
Yeah, yeah, excellent. I like the way this is looking really good this morning on JD. So definitely on top of our list here. Let's head down over to Tilray, TLRY. This is one, man. This is at $7. Wow, it's just insane. So for the most part,
You think the guy that bought it 300 a year and a half ago still in it?
oh man, look at this. Just look. I don't know. I'm not sure how long you guys been trading. If you've been around with us for some time, if you're a new trader, you probably didn't see this, but this was just insane. We went from $13, and we saw this live here in the chat room. It was just,
Yep.
again, I never seen anything. We've seen some crazy stuff, but this is definitely top three, top two of the craziness we have seen. This thing went from $100 to 300, and it was in a matter of hours. Like we're talking about maybe an hour or two when this happened. So just craziness. So they're down at 7,045 cents now. Again, another probably sympathy play because there's nothing going on here. Volume is pretty light right now. Pre-market action is not great. So I'm going to skip on this one. I'm not going to add this one to our list. We have two already. We have CGC and we have ACB that I think are definitely going to be in play. And CGC can put in a pretty a better day. Might not make our final list once we go through this gapping down list, which is huge. It's massive right now. Let's sort it by the worst to best here, and we'll see if this will make our list, but I highly doubt it. Next on this list is BHP. I believe this is foreign garbage here. So again, just look at it. Nothing good.
Mining stock.
Yep.
Foreign mining stock.
Let's move over to our gapping down list. CODX. This was nice yesterday. It had a nice pop here. I think Andrew and a couple of you guys took a trade on here right at the open. Had a pretty nice breakout, guys. Look at the pre-market action. It was active. We knew that because we saw it as well. I didn't keep it on my main list, but at the open, opens up, sells down. Just look at the buying pressure. The buyer's taking control here on the 5 minute. Let me zoom in a little more. I'm a little far out here. Here we go. Says the buyer's coming in, taking this up over here all the way towards almost the VWAP here at this point, and then past that high create a new high of the day here. You don't even get a pullback once this 5 minute candle is over, and then it continues all the way up to 30. So again, a nice little run up here. Andrew took this trade in the morning and did pretty well. That's a beautiful trade.
Say they They had earnings yesterday, so I don't know if that's coming into play here, this sell-off.
Hmm.
They were reporting first quarter, which wasn't impacted by Corona quite as much as what we're seeing. They also gave a business update, so maybe continuation from yesterday. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, could be, could be. I'm definitely gonna keep it down here, guys. Again, not a stock that I usually watch. It is a 15.8, so it's a little bit higher than the usual low float. 5 million, 3 million shares floats. This one's at 15.8, and it does trade well when it is in play. It can put in some pretty good action as we saw yesterday at the open. So we'll keep an eye on it here, guys, and see what we're going to get. Again, we're down quite a bit here, 16%, back to this area of some levels we had in the past here, area of resistance, some support on here, obviously from yesterday as well, that being one of the lows. Let's see how this is going to play out today. For the most part, as far as pre-market action, you're starting to get something going compared to yesterday. This is nothing. We had an amazing pre-market action yesterday on this one. VTIQ also was on our list yesterday. What's going on with this one today? So today they are down 6.9, 326 at the moment. Pre-market's a little bit all over the place, but it is early, guys. So we'll continue to take a look at it and see what we can get out of this one. Over the last 3 days, man, they had a nice run up, and the last 3 days she's kind of taking a little bit of a hit here, kind of giving a lot of it back. So let's see how that plays out. MU, wow, I cannot remember when was the last time we even talked about MU. And I'm looking at this
What's in
daily.
you?
Yeah, what's MU, right? And looking at this daily could explain why. But today they are active, man. 577. That's a lot of volume for MU. They're definitely in play today, down 5.8. Norm, what's the news on MU today, if any?
This goes back to the U.S. blocking semiconductor shipments to Huawei in China. So you'll see a lot of these names on here. AMAT
Mm-hmm.
also reported last night, another semiconductor company. So if I just look at the list, you've got MU,
Mm-hmm.
Qualcomm, AMAT, TSM, which is foreign, and we won't even really look at it,
Mm-hmm.
Cisco, INTC, AMD, all on that news, NVIDIA. So
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw them all on here, and what we're gonna do is, guys, we're gonna look through them and see which one we kind of like their style a little bit, which one has a nicer pre-market activity with some good volume. You can see right on here, AMS got some good volume, Cisco has some good volume, AMD obviously some great volume, hitting that 900, almost 1,000 right at the moment, and Nvidia, this 196 is pretty good as well for Nvidia when you have that type of action in the pre-market. So let's look through this MU, man. I think I'm definitely want to keep an eye on MU at the moment. 586 from MU is exciting to see that type of action, and also I like the pre-market at the moment. And when MU is in play, it's one of those stocks that can trade so clean. So I want to keep an eye on this one. Let's take a look at AMAT. AMAT also is very active as well, 913. I think I want to keep an eye on this one as well. So QCOM I'm going to remove, and the reason for it is because out of all these stocks, it's probably the most choppiest stock that you can trade. It's probably the most difficult when it comes to actual actual intraday action. So I'm going to remove that one. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I think MU, AMAT, and maybe even AMD could trade a little bit better. CSCO, this one also has got a not the greatest pre-market activity. It's going to be interesting to see how these stocks are going to trade at the open with all the news behind it and how they're going to react.
Cisco Cisco is not the greatest trading stock. I think a number of people in the room can probably vouch for that. I know Thor traded this yesterday, and while he was green on the trade, he sat and waited for like an hour for a
Mm.
break out of a high. It's institutionally traded a lot, and it's hard to get a good move on it early.
Yeah, yeah. So again, for that reason, guys, I'm gonna remove this one. We already got some pretty good ones on here. We have a MUA man. Oops, did I release INTC? Hold on a second. Yeah, I removed INTC. And Cisco, I'm gonna remove Cisco as well, guys. I'm gonna remove these two. AMD is a good possible, and Nvidia. Nvidia is great today, guys. This is pretty good pre-market action for Nvidia. You're seeing this volume right now on it. Again, this is looking pretty good. So I like Nvidia today. We'll keep these four, and then we'll fine tune them even a little further down. Maybe we'll bring down to two as we get going through this list. All right, guys, we have quite a bit on here. We're not gonna definitely get through them, but let's take a look at some of the ones we've been watching closely. Let's go over to the airlines. United Airlines this morning. What do we have going on here? Some good volume, 500,000 shares traded. Again, they took a nice drop and recovered pretty well. Came back above their opening price point point here yesterday. So again, very active. I think United could be a good one to watch. Let's take a look at, before we put this one down, let's take a look at American Airlines, what we have going on there. A little bit less volume, not as clean as United right now. Let's take a look at Delta. Delta 592 also has got a good pre-market action. Let's look at Save. Save is one that's been taking a bit of a hit. Wow, no volume today. Spirit is completely dead, not even 100k when it comes to action right now. So you know what, let's keep I think United UAL was great, and let's keep Delta for now. Let's keep these two. They're both around that 500,000 range with a decent pre-market action, and then we can fine-tune which one is better than the other, depending on how this list goes. Also, guys, scanners, right? Scanners going to be a big thing for us today. Let's look at the cruise lines. Who's leading the way this morning? NCLH, and then Norm, we'll get to you, see if you have anything that has a good catalyst out of this list, and then we'll go over to the chat room. So NCLH right now, got some decent volume, 466, good pre-market activity. Again, pretty much just going sideways a little bit here compared to the range of yesterday, right? Yesterday you had this beautiful range going all the way from 10 down to 9. You hit 1150 at one point, closing at looks like, was that 1080, 1076. So beautiful range on NCLH yesterday, after a nice big bounce after dropping a bit there. So that could be interesting. Let's look at CCL, which is usually great on volume, 813 on the volume right now. Again, kind of similar situation as NCLH, right? We kind of had this drop, we recover, and now it's just kind of midpoint of yesterday's range. Just kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen here. So either one of those are good, guys. I'm going to put them both down. We'll keep one towards the end of the show, but for right now, we'll keep both of these on there. All right, guys, I'm not going to go through everything else on here. Norm, anything else that might have a good catalyst that we might want to take a look at or add to this list?
I'm not seeing anything special, man.
Gotcha, brother. All right, let's go over to our chat room.
Let's go into the room. I'm sure somebody does.
Yep. Let's see what we have here. So Drew UK, United Airlines on SSR. Yep, I see that. United Airlines. Yep, SSR, and other airlines are okay. All right. NEWR. All right. So you're not talking about Newark. You're talking about what ticker is this? Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute, that's my airport. All right. So this is New Relic. So guys, I'm not seeing no volume on here. I like the pop 12.5. But the volume at the moment, I don't see anything that's really in play. It looks like after hours they got some news or some kind of action going on here.
Yeah, they had earnings. They had earnings last night, but like you said, there's just no volume this morning.
Yeah. So not much going on. Again, and this could be normal for this stock because usually for the most part, even on days where you run up pretty nice, like on it here, look what you traded, 1 million shares. So maybe this is the way they start their pre-market activity. But for the most part, you'll have to wait for this one at the open to see what you're going to get out of it.
I do like this. I might keep an eye on this. This is kind of reminds me of D-Dog that we had the other day.
Yeah.
Similar companies, similar earnings. Markets gapping down 1%. They're up 12.5. It might be interesting.
Yeah, and what I like about some of these stocks on here as well, like ACB and JD, is that they're up. The market is down and these guys are up. Even CGC will probably stay on my list, even though it doesn't have the greatest pre-market and volume. When you're gapping up as much as anything above 3%, 4%, you're definitely trying to make a statement here. So we definitely want to keep an eye on you. This one is up 12.5, so could be even a great possible. As you mentioned, Norm, I think it's a good one to have on here. Right, not much going on right now, but it could be a sleeper because just look at the volume. They don't do much on a regular basis. So even yesterday when they had a nice drop in a big day, they barely reached 2 million shares there. So we'll keep an eye on this one. All right, next, what do we have? TSM is a foreign stock, guys, so we usually don't watch it. I'm not sure if anybody else actually trades it or has traded in the room. So Jennifer is asking if you guys can get back to her. That'd be great. Let's look at BA and Kurt. I'm gonna get to yours. You have a lot on there. Let's see what we got going on with BA first. Not bar, not yet. They're still closed. Let's see, BA. So here, BA, guys, down 3.1, 455. BA, you know what? This is probably not the greatest pre-market activity. We've seen it from it. Yesterday was amazing, but BA is worth watching. I think BA has been one of those stocks that you have to have on your list, especially with the way things happen with the airlines and the news behind everything going on there, and delays on reopening the country and so forth. I think this affects this drastically. So we can definitely keep an eye on this one. Let's look at some of the ones that we have on here. LRCX this morning. I'm not seeing a whole lot going on here. We have looked at this one before. It's one that does not trade very well, guys. You want to be careful with this one. It's a very high price stock, by the way, and for the way it trades, right? It doesn't trade clean. The volume is very low. There's a big difference when you have a stock priced at a 250 with very low volume, and when you have like an Nvidia or an Apple or any of these other stocks priced at a higher price, but the volume is so great, that's important. So I will be skeptical to have this on my watch list. QCOM, we discussed a little bit. Nothing wrong with QCOM, but I'm not going to watch all the semis today. I'm going to have MU, AMAT, AMD, and NVIDIA. And out of these, I'm going to even fine-tune those down to at least 2. So QCOM is good as well. You can have that on your list. I just think QCOM, INTC, they tend to be on the choppier side. So I'm going to go with something that has a little more movement and volatility here. ABT for the most part right now down 2.7, no volume at all, guys. I love the daily, looks great. Looks like we're barely holding on to this area where we had some support in the past. Beautiful bounce from there back in early May or end of April. Looks like now we're dropping down towards this 90 level here. Could be interesting for sure, but again, pre-market is pretty light right now when it comes to volume. If that gets better, guys, throw it out to us. We'll definitely take a look at it because I do like the way the daily's setting up on that. Let's look at Facebook is being thrown out by Kim. Let's take a look at what's happening there. Facebook, let's see what's up with that. All right, so Facebook right now, again, Facebook no volume, very light on the volume at the moment. So usually when Facebook is going to be in play, you're gonna have a lot of volume in there. Right now, we're not seeing that. NLOC, let's take a look there. What's going on with NLOC this morning? NLOC, here we go. All right, so Abio is changing our chats to different colors. By the way, you don't hear a lot about Abio, especially in our in videos or in our YouTube channel. But a lot of the stuff, the quality of this program, a lot of stuff that's being done here is with Abio. Abio is doing an amazing job. So again, kudos to him, man. He does a lot of stuff in the back end that you don't even hear about, but he makes us look good. Yep. That's what he does. He makes us look good. He makes sure the cables are connected and everything is running in the back end. So thank you, Abio, for all the work you put in. All right,
and Ryan. Don't forget about Ryan.
And Ryan.
Same thing.
Yeah,
you don't see him very often, but he's back there all the time.
That's true. That is true. Ryan is a great guy as well, always pushing us forward to make sure things are happening and scheduling. And he's the tech guy, so he keeps our websites and everything else running. So thank you for that. All right, guys, let's go down here. NLOC, not liking what I see in here at all, guys. Just everything just doesn't look great on it. The daily's not exciting. Also, the pre-market action is just not there, and spread is horrible. And part of that could be because of the volume. So let's take a look at Twitter, and we'll go over to our YouTube channel, see what we have there. Twitter right now, Twitter's okay. I'm used to seeing Twitter with a very heavy volume. In their pre-market when they're going to be in play. Right now, it's just probably following whatever the market is doing, similar to Facebook. So they have 176. I think this type of stock, you can wait for it to hit the scanners and kind of see how they're going to turn out. But we got some pretty good ones you want to leave space for, and the ones that are in green today, and some of the ones that have news behind it, like the semiconductors. And then you want to also keep an eye on an airline or two just to see, because those have been, although they don't have obviously the coronavirus is what's affecting them, they have been putting in some pretty good intraday activity. So those are worth watching. All right, let's get to our YouTube chat. Oh, Apple. Few people mentioning Apple. Let's look at that. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, see, Apple looks a lot more better than these other ones that we looked at, like the Facebook and the Twitter. This one here looks good. You have some pretty good volume. Looks like you want to lose it here, down 2.7, 974 for Apple right now. That's a lot of volume. So definitely we could keep an eye on Apple right now. Pre-market is looking good. We're holding on to this area of prior resistance, a test of the low from yesterday. We're right on it right now, around 300, 301. So yeah, Apple could be definitely interesting. One more, because this one is always...
Apple's affected by that semiconductor news I was speaking about too. The Chinese official that had been tweeting out garbage during the tariffs, trade war issues, came out and specifically mentioned Apple, Cisco, a few of these. So Apple was on that list. Possible retaliation against not providing semiconductors to Huawei. So it could be interesting. And if you look at the daily, Apple's been on a hell of a tear. I mean, it bottom 270-ish and has just almost been a straight line up to, 320
Yeah,
before this pullback.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see, guys. Definitely in play as Nor mentioned there. Let's take a look at one more here. Zoom. So Zoom right now pretty much flat. No volume. It doesn't got the volume. The daily though does look very very interesting. We'll like to see this a little later in the day to see how that is going to trade here. Again, pretty much flat right now, no volume, but we talked about this earlier in the week. You're getting higher lows here right into this level around 170. So if potential breakout, guys, could be setting up here. So we'll be on the lookout. Might not happen today. The market is down. I think this is going to need a little bit of some help from the market. Although this is one of the stocks, if the market is down and things are not going to reopen right away, it does well because as much as we keep extending this working from home and classes, this does well in that condition. So we'll have to see, but it's setting up nicely for a possible breakout here. All right, guys, let's go over to our YouTube friends. What do we have this morning? Tesla. Sergio is giving us Tesla today. Let's take a look at what's happening there. So Tesla right now also doesn't have the greatest volume, just 175 at the moment. We definitely seen better from it. Their daily has been pretty interesting right now. Just for the last few days, so it's just kind of been consolidating within this area right now. So it could go so many different ways on Tesla. I'm not seeing anything too exciting compared to what we have like the Apples and the MUs of the world right now. But we do have this great level here, guys, that we tested twice the last 2 days. So that's interesting also when it comes to how this is going to look later in the intraday after an hour or so. It is going to trend down back to test this 760 one more time, especially with the market down. So this could be one that just like Zoom, you put next to your secondary list, and if something great comes out of it, we can definitely take a look at that. Apple we do have. So Apple, again, some good volume here, about to hit 1 million shares, doing it nice. I'm gonna mark this down, guys. Look at the base that this is doing right now here. So you got some heavy volume coming in. Obviously a couple of probably block trades right here at around 8 o'clock. You usually get this around 8 o'clock. So if you see this, these are probably transactions being recorded, right? There's usually not the price action coming up, going up, and then coming back down. Usually at 8 o'clock, 9:30, 7 o'clock, you see those transactions being recorded. But here, guys, overall, 300, 360, a very nice base being created here in this pre-market with some pretty good volume. So let's see if we're going to snap or bounce back from there. Apple is very good. We looked at Save, and we'll look at Microsoft next. Save didn't really have a whole lot going on unless something changed since last time we looked at it. Yeah, it's dead. Shockingly, not much going on there. So let's take a look at Microsoft. Microsoft is down quite a bit. Pre-markets is okay. Again, this is decent volume for Microsoft, but overall, they're just down 1%. I think it's overall market activity right now, and not really anything that looks overly exciting here. What else, guys? JD we do have. Yes, JD's on our list. Let's see what JD's up to. Just kind of moving sideways a little bit now. Still up 3.8, 2.3 million shares traded. DraftKings, DKNG, and this was in our gapping up list, disappeared and came back. Again, guys, I think this one has been pretty active and fun to watch, but overall, let's see how it traded yesterday. I did not see the action yesterday. Again, so pretty much dropped down, kind of what a lot of the stocks did yesterday. They dropped down, found the base, came back up to VWAP, and it's kind of trended nicely here with this 9 moving average, doing a little pullback here, but still continues to be strong towards that last hour of the close of the market. But for the most part, this is a stock that there's not just a lot of history on it. I mean, it's one of the, I'm sorry, I'm looking at JD, excuse me. There we go, DD King. Yeah, so there's not a lot of history on this one, guys. So let's see how this one traded yesterday, because JD did nice. Yeah, the same thing. Dropped down, came back. But again, just, I don't know. I'm not sure about this one, guys. If you like to trade this type of stock, you can. I like to have something with a little bit more history on for me to trade. Right now, I'm not sure about this one, so I'll skip on this one.
DKNG is moving on a lot of like Robinhood speculation stuff going on. Loading up into a new IPO, thinking about gambling going forward and such. And I'm not saying it's not going to pop, but I think there's a lot of questionable influence behind that one.
Yep, and I did see someone share that on they shared a post of the top stocks being traded by Robinhood or whatever, and this was like number 2 or something. So again, I'm just not a fan of it, guys. I think we have a lot more going on that we can look at this morning. All right, guys, let's get over to announcements, and we'll come back and do some levels of support and resistance here. But right now, let's go over to see what's going on with our community at the moment.
Guys, as I've mentioned, we have released our podcast we've been working on for a while, Bear Bull Traders Podcast, Talk with Traders. If you search for Talk with Traders on your favorite podcast platform, should be able to find it and subscribe. We've got tons of fresh, exclusive material coming out on the podcast. So subscribe to Spotify, Captivate, iTunes, so on and so forth, and you will receive all of those as they come out. Psychology webinar this week should be up. It was just absolutely phenomenal. I finally got a chance to take a peek at it. One of the early recordings, it's probably been even cleaned up more since then, but Mike did his creating a trading business plan webinar. There's also, added materials on that will enhance the webinar for you. So they're downloadable on the site. You can use those to help build your own business plan. Mike's done a lot of the legwork for you on that. Also, check out his Module 3, Importance of Discipline in Day Trading. Unquestionably, one of the most important things you can learn, and have the privilege of learning it from a disciplined individual that learned his discipline from 23 years in the United States Marine Corps. We're lucky to have him. Join him and Peter today at the market close show, 3:30 to 4:15 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. It'll be a stream of the room, so check them out. I'm sure they'll have some fun. Maybe they'll break out a drink a little bit early. And if you're watching us on YouTube, haven't been in the chat room, you can use the promo code premarket24 to get in a discount for a week. It also gives you access to the onboarding class. Carlos had mentioned this. If you're on the fence about trying it out, great time to do it's over the weekend. Sign up on the weekend. It's a calendar week, so you get the weekend and then five trading days after that. So you can set everything up. You can take a look at the site, get a little bit get used to it. Come in Monday, get a feel for the chat room, then go to the onboard class Monday night, and then have the rest of the week to kind of play around. That doesn't auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership. It's just 1 week and then it's over with. Also, if you'd like to become a member, upgrade your membership to a lifetime membership, you can use the promo code podcast to get a 40% off discount of the single payment, the one-time membership.
All right, thank you, Norm. Okay, folks, so let's see what we have here. We do have a ACB, again, one of our most active stocks this morning. They are up almost 30%. Let's take a look at their pre-market action right now. It's looking pretty decent. So again, definitely one that is in play, guys. Let's do some levels. We have high of our pre-market sitting at 910. Above that, we do have this one little pop here a couple of days ago. Over at 964, and then above that, this daily, though, you can see how nasty this daily has been, right? It seems like it's just hasn't been trading all that clean, but today they're definitely in play, regardless of their daily chart here. So overall, we do have one at 1033, and then all the way up here we do have something at 1160. Again, that's a stretch, but who knows? This stock is very strong, up 30% today, going down. This thing closed at 664, and we're up at around $8, $9 already. So pretty decent pop from these guys. Low of the pre-market sitting at 771. You can see how this low, very close to this area, we have some support right on here, and then here we have some consolidation as well. Nice support here. Also, we had our first drop from the market down here. So that's the low of the pre-market right now. Below that, if we lose that, we do have an area where we have some opening action here at 728. So I think I got plenty of levels for this stock right now. In the pre-market right now, I do like the way this is has been playing around this area where the price action is now 850. So be on the lookout for that 850 mark, guys. You're getting a lot of action around here. Every time you come here, it looks like the volume increases. So something like this you want to keep an eye on. That's going to be an important level for this stock. You know what? Let's just mark it down so we don't forget. So around this 850, 851, every time we're getting here, you can see how the volume has been increasing. So just throw that on there. I think the price action might be playing around and flirting with that level this morning. Now here's CGC, guys. Right now, not much going on. I had it on here in case it was going to do anything exciting, but at the moment, still very low on the volume compared to what ACB is doing. So we'll remove it. If it gets interesting, if it hits our scanners, that one, and also CRON could be two good ones to keep an eye on. CRN right now not doing all that much, but if ACB becomes active, this whole sector could get very active this morning. So ACB on the list, top one up this morning. This is JD, also very exciting. JD's up 3.3. It's great to see when the market is down and these stocks are up. That clearly shows that they're doing their own thing and they are truly in play for the day. So we have 51.71 high of our pre-market, 49.31 is the low of the pre-market. Towards the bottom, you have a very strong area of resistance here that we had in the past, 1, 2, 3. That can now be support. So you got your highs from the last 2 trading days and your previous day close around that 49.96 area. Let's go back here. Are we at all-time high with JD? I believe it looks like we are. No, we haven't. We're very, very close. We did break it in the pre-market, but we're sitting our price action right now, right at 50. If this is the all-time high, I believe it is. I went back a couple of years, I didn't see anything, but it looks like 50.69 is an area right on here where you have some clear rejection. That was the all-time high, at least 52-week high during this time frame for a very long time. We're back at this location now. I was back in 2018. And I don't think we have anything above that. If I just go back and check on JD, nope, that is the all-time high there. So this pre-market 51.75 is the new all-time high now. So that's going to be a strong resistance area if we can get back up there. Let's see how JD is going to play out today. But again, we got some good volume. Their pre-market a little bit all over the place between 5:30 and 7, right? Just kind of some craziness here, but overall starting to get a little bit nicer now as more volume is coming in. So let's continue to monitor that, see how that does there. VTIQ, guys, this was very active yesterday. The pre-market right now is not looking all that great. It does have some volume on it, but again, the way these candles are connected, the way this has been forming, has not been all that amazing. But this stock can definitely move. We've seen it play out the last couple of days, how great it has been. 23.19 low of the pre-market. Below that, you do have an area here at 20, and then all the way down here at 17. So a couple of levels towards the bottom has got you covered, and then highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, previous day close on here as well. You also have above the previous day close, you have this area here. You have rejection here, some resistance, and you also have this date yesterday opening right at that 27.58. So we'll keep an eye on that level as well. So we'll keep it on here for now, guys. I think the pre-market could be exciting here. I think this drop could be interesting as well as we're hitting this 23.19. Let's see what it's going to do in a couple of more minutes. We'll come back to it. Let's go to the semiconductors and see which one we're going to keep today. I think MU is definitely on our list this morning. It's got some really, really good volume, a nice pre-market action right now. I think MU is definitely one to keep. We have not looked at MU in so long, by the way, so I'm excited it's back on the list here. Below this low from yesterday, low of the pre-market, which is basically the low from 2 days ago, we do have 41.21 down here. If we look between this daily, let's see if we could find any midpoint here, maybe a minor support resistance. I think we found one here at 41.86. You have this day here bouncing off of that, this day finding rejection right at that 41.86. So at least we have something in between here, because it's a big drop from 42.50 to 41.21. It's a big drop. So we have at least a minor support in that area. Several things happening there this day. Oops, that's too much. Let's bring this down. We have this day here, this one here, and also this day opening around that 41.86. All right, let's look towards the top, guys. We do have your highs and lows, and the previous day close right on here, all the way up at 45.73. Again, we're down almost $3 on this thing. But in between here, I would love to have a level in between this area here. You can see that's a big gap to have between levels. It looks like 44.40. 44.40. If we draw a line in here, it looks like several days have changed direction or found some either support. You got support here, support, resistance, more resistance on these days, more support, support and resistance. So it looks like this 44.51 is a good area to have. You have several days opening, closing right around this area. Also some more resistance. So I think this level is a good one to have. A lot of action happening around that price level there. So that's MU, guys. I love the pre-market action. I love the volume on it today. I think it's definitely going to stay on our list for the most part. AMAT as well has got a good pre-market action, guys. Down 3% at the moment. 1 million shares traded. Your level right now, this low of I'm sorry, this is the high from 2 days ago. It's already marked right on there for you. So this high from 2 days ago, right in this area, that's marked there for you. Looks like we're having a lot of support around that area. Your low of your pre-market slightly below that at 52.30, so I'm going to mark that down as well. And then once we lose that 52.30, if that's the way we're going to go today, your next level is going to be the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Now in between here, I will look out for the 51. I think 51 could be the area where you can have some change in direction, some support and resistance. Again, this is not really a level. This is more of a minor level here, 51, just because I think around that price range, usually that whole dollar number can be important, especially when you're dropping so much. If you lose 52 and you're trying to go all the way down here, you're going to have at least some change in direction at that whole dollar number. Here is AMD now losing it a bit. Let's see if we can make a new pre-market low. Their pre-market low right now is 52.75. They're also very, very active, guys. 1.1 million shares traded. They're still between the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Such a better daily chart than we saw like on MU, right? This is a lot more cleaner. We got some consolidation happening here, some up and downs with the market, and now with the news, they're very active. So I don't think you need to add any more levels, guys. Low of the pre-market's got you covered. Highs and lows at the moment. If we break out of this range that we're in, 49.80 could be another possible area of support that we can find here. But for the most part, I think you're pretty much covered when it comes to levels on AMD. Here is NVIDIA. NVIDIA also very active. Gonna remove some levels here, guys. We do have our highs and lows. We've been stuck between this range here on AMD for some time, right on here. But where the price action is now, it's also worth marking. Your low of your pre-market sitting at what is this, 312.50. So I'm going to mark that down because you can see several days opening and closing up right on that level. So again, you can see there's a lot of action happening here at that 312.58 where the price action is at right now. So you want to have that on there. And then aside from that, you got your highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Again, you're pretty much covered when it comes to that, but definitely keep that 312 on there. Even if this thing does a new pre-market low, whatever the case may be, this 312, you want to have that on there, 312.58. Here is so out of these 3, guys, let's see which one we're going to keep. I like NVIDIA. I like man, they all look good. Actually, 4 is MU. I'm going to keep. AMAT looks interesting. I think I'm going to remove AMD. I'm going to keep AMAT. NVIDIA is I'm on the fence on NVIDIA, guys. I'm going to keep these 3. We'll fine tune it even a little bit later as we get towards the open. So here's United right now. United 565. They are down 3 points here at the moment, 3%. Let's look at 1956 is the low of the pre-market. Below that, we do have the low from yesterday here, 1815. We haven't been down here since the first initial drop. Our low here was around 17 or so. So again, we got some levels towards the bottom here. We got some levels towards the top as well. Highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, creating some areas of support above the price action. The only thing else you need to mark on here is your pre-market high sitting at 20.95. Aside from that and above that, you do have plenty of levels on United. So pre-market is very active right now, 560. Let's see what Delta's doing. Delta's got more volume as well. So Delta's doing pretty nice here. Low of their pre-market, 1873. Their pre-market also very active. So between these 2, you can keep one. I'm more inclined to keep Delta just because the volume is a lot higher, or at least starting to pull away from United here. So that could be interesting. So let's do that. Let's get rid of United. We'll keep Delta today for the airlines this morning, and we'll see how that plays out. All right, let's go to the cruise line. So we have NCLH and CCL. I think CCL might be the one to keep this morning, so I'll get rid of NCLH. And for the most part, I know they're only down 1.4, but this is kind of going sideways a bit now, right? There's not really much going on there. We do have some volume on there, but compared to like the NVIDIAs, the AMAT, the MU, JDs, these stocks are actually moving. They're actually really in play right now with catalysts behind it. So CCL might make our secondary list today. We'll have to see. Newark here, NEWR is not doing anything. We'll get rid of it for the most part. Actually, you know what? No, we can move this down because this could be interesting with that pop. This could be their sleeper for today. We'll move it down to a possible. Let's do some levels for it. So NEWR, this one right here, nice pop here at 12%. Again, not much going on in the pre-market. Still, the volume is very light, but I want to see if this can be something that's going to start off like this and take off one way or the other. What's our pre-market high? Yeah, pre-market high is 66.74. Low of the pre-market 64.50, 64.60, and then below that you do have 61.40 all the way down here. Let's see if we have anything towards the top above this pre-market high. Look at this pre-market high, by the way, 66.74. If we draw a line right on here, look what we have. Just look how beautiful that level is on several days in between here. So the next one you see above here is going to be the 69.01. Right, you can see it right on there as well. You do have a perfect area right there showing some clear change in direction and bounces off that 69.01. So some pretty good levels here on NEWR for the most part. So we'll keep that on as a possible. Let's look at BA. Do we do CCL? Yeah, I think I'm going to move CCL down to a possible as well this morning. Let's do that because even like a app was looking a lot better. So BA guys, I'm going to remove today.
3CL to me feels like one of those stocks that was in play for a long time, and now people are just clinging on to it, even though it's not really in play anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, it's just one of those stocks. There's nothing happening, but the volume is there because it's been in everybody's radar. I mean, I don't think I ever traded CCL in the past, maybe once or twice. In this year's, I've been traded probably who knows, maybe all time high of tickers traded at least on my account. So. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it down here as a possible, guys. To me, this is sideways right now, right? 1.4 means almost nothing for CCL. We need a little bit more than that. So Delta, we looked at BA. I think BA could be interesting, but for the most part, the airlines are okay today. I'm gonna bring BA down as well. I'd rather watch Apple this morning. I think Apple is a real good one to have on our list. Look at the volume just climbing again, continuing to hold this 360 here, and it's just a lot of activity happening in that area. Guys, I think we have a pretty good list. Let's go through it real quick. ACB is nice. JD also, two of the stocks are up this morning, given that the market is down. So you definitely want to keep an eye on those. VTIQ, I'm on the fence. This could be one of those I could trade very well or not. I think with what I have here, I might bring this down to a possible here, a top possible, just because I want to watch these other ones that have a catalyst behind it. MU, AMAT. Nvidia, Delta could be good. They don't have a catalyst right now, but I think this one is very active out of all the airlines, and Apple as well. So I think that's my list for today. We're semiconductor heavy here, but I think that's what's happening this morning.
That's
Norm,
what's in play today.
exactly. Well, Norm, what else do you like today besides what we have already on here?
That's about it, man. I've got ACB, Nvidia, AMD, Apple, AMAT, BAMU, Codex just in case, and NEWR in case it gets action, but I won't touch that unless it really picks up.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, let's take a look at what the moderators are watching here. Store his list: ACB, JD, MU, QCOM. The four he's watching today. Eamon is watching JD, CODX, and ACB. All right. And that's what we have so far. Peter and the rest of the gang will put theirs up a little bit later. All right, guys, that is what we have this morning. So let's see, 9:15 Eastern time, so 15 minutes to the market open. We're going to continue having our conversation in our chat room here and kind of fine tune this list even a little bit further. But I think right now we have a pretty good list of some really active stuff. Let's take a look at the SPY and see how we're ending this pre-market right now in regards to the market. Those numbers came out, right, Norm? You mentioned, and has it affected anything with the SPY, or still kind of not doing all that much?
A lot of this news, it's terribly negative, but it's hard to predict, and it's kind of known that nobody was going to be in retail stores in April. So, I don't know that it's had a big impact, really.
Yeah, yeah, and again, people say, well, why is the SPY up as much as it is? Well, you got to think about it. This was a big drop. A lot of this drop is happening, and again, we're not analysts here. We're not telling you, pure facts or anything. But this drop is happening because investors know that how it's going to affect things going forward. Nobody cares about what happens in the past. It's what happens going forward. So the reason why this money left the market here is because they know when these earnings come out, it's not going to look good. So a lot of this stuff is already built in.
Yeah.
These guys are looking forward, not backwards, when it comes to their decision making.
Markets forward looking. We've had $3 trillion worth of stimulus pumped into the economy. Talks of another $3 trillion. I mean, it's just unprecedented. So
Yeah, yeah.
should be interesting.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the conversations we had with Dr. Brett when and him and Mike Bellafield were having that webinar, which by the way is amazing. You definitely have to watch if you haven't had a chance to. You know, Dr. Brett was saying that there's firms were underinvested here. You know, they had capital to spend to use, right? They were underinvested, so what they did, they started reinvesting on stocks that were at a low price. You know, so it's a lot going on with that, and then the government helping. This was costing this. So sometimes reality is not matching up to what the market is showing, and there's reasons for that. So, but at the end of the day, the market is always right. Guys, take care. Have a great Friday. We will see you guys again on Monday morning, 8:30 Eastern time. Do not miss the show at 3:30 today to close out the week. Trade safe as usual. You want to go into your weekend knowing that you follow your rules. You follow your rules every day. But the weekend, something special about Fridays because you cannot make it up the next day. You cannot come back and say, hey, I'm going to be disciplined the next day. So do it today so you enjoy your weekend with your family. Stay safe and see you guys next week.
Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.